Hello, IB high-level economists. We're now looking at this big 10-mark question in paper 3. You're going to have 2 of these to do, 1 for each question in paper 3. This is a very different question than the 10-marker in paper 1. Completely different. Both 10-markers in paper 3 are going to be worded the same. The wording will be recommend a policy. That is very unique. Now, it's an essay, so you're looking for 20 minutes. 20 minutes to do each of your 10 markers. That gives you around half an hour for all the short questions that came before. Now, in truth, if you're really good with the short questions before, the calculation questions and the short written questions, you might have more than 20 minutes for the 10 marker, but 20 minutes, if that's all you have, will be sufficient for you to write a good essay here. This question does require evaluation. As well as analysis, of course, it does require evaluation. But it is only a short essay, so you're not looking to write pages and pages and pages. It's supposed to be very short, concise. 20 minutes will do it, but you are expected to evaluate. So let's get straight into the structure. How do you actually write these 10-mark essays in paper 3? We'll start with definitions of any key terms in the question, if there are any. If there are relevant key terms, define them. If there aren't, don't worry about it. Just move straight into your analysis paragraph. So there we go. Your analysis paragraph comes next. What are you doing in this analysis paragraph? Well, of course, you're recommending your policy. What is the policy that you recommend? That answers the question, and analyze it in full detail, as much detail as you can. Now, pretty much all policies in economics will have a diagram to illustrate how they work. So whether it's a market failure policy, a policy to solve market failure there, well, most of those have got diagrams to help you. Macro policies will have diagrams. Even your protectionist policies in global will have diagrams. So I would say like 95% of the time you can draw a diagram that can help your analysis out. But there might be the odd policy here and there you think there isn't a directly relevant diagram to illustrate this, in which case fine, you don't have to draw a diagram. But I would say the vast majority of the time you will be able to draw a diagram to illustrate how that policy works in solving whatever the question is asking you to solve. So you want to analyze that policy in serious detail with probably a diagram there to help you. Make sure your diagram is drawn accurately, maybe it's fully labeled. Make sure in your writing you're referring to it, as always, the same usual practice when it comes to drawing diagrams. But the key in this analysis paragraph as well, you must have application. You must be using the extracts that have come in paper 3. Directly quote something of relevance from those extracts to back up your analysis. But also, look out, maybe your prior answers, maybe your calculations, maybe some of those written questions before the 10 marker, some of that is very useful to aid you in your analysis of the policy in the 10 markers. So I don't know, maybe you've worked out a calculation linking to market failure. You've worked out the actual value of an overconsumption, or you've actually worked out society surplus or something that links to a market failure. Maybe you've worked out a welfare loss or something. There might be something of note that you can use. If it's a macro policy, maybe prior you've worked out growth rates, unemployment rates, inflation rates, which could help you in analyzing how a policy works, whatever your recommendation is. So look out for your prior answers. Something in there could be excellent application as well to back up your analysis of a policy. But you have to do that, otherwise you're not going to be scoring high marks on this 10 marker. So that's your detailed analysis paragraph. Then, as always, I recommend your evaluation should be separate in its own detailed paragraph, but you're looking for evaluation as its own paragraph. Now, you want detail again, fundamentally. The key is picking a good evaluation point. Now we can follow the same techniques as I've talked about many times before when I said how to evaluate on a 15 marker in paper 1, your 15 marker in paper 2. The same kind of ideas. I'll link the video again of all the different options for you when it comes to evaluating. The same options are there for you again. The difference now though, if you wanted to, you can also evaluate the data sources. You can also evaluate the extracts. Maybe you don't like the source of that data, the source of the extracts. You think is bias. Maybe you're questioning correlation causation issues within the data that they've presented. Maybe there is a need for more data for you to come to a very clear policy recommendation and you express what that data is. You might therefore be evaluating data. That's absolutely fine as well. So you've got different options. You've got your standard evaluation options as we've used in paper 1, paper 2, but you've also got the ability to evaluate data, as that was an option for you in paper 2 in the 15 marker as well. But whatever evaluation point that you're looking to make, develop it in detail. The more detail, the better. It's a sign of a top economist, okay? Go for detail. And just like before, you want to make sure you're applying. Quote something from the extracts, and if relevant, go back to your prior answers. Maybe you've worked out price elasticity of demand, which might help you evaluate. Maybe you worked out something else, a multiplier calculation or something that can aid you in backing up whatever evaluation point that you're making. But application there is also expected. So that's how you write this 10 mark. You see it's short, but detail is very much expected, as is application. Follow this structure, make sure you know what you're doing, and you'll be absolutely set, hopefully scoring 10 out of 10 on both of these in paper 3. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.